Happy Monday, guys.
Happy Monday, Motivational Monday, Mindful Monday. It's the Monday Rundown. We are with you for another Monday and a lot of fun conversation. So, if this is your first time with us on Say That channel, welcome to our Monday Rundown where we get to talk about all the things that we don't normally talk about on Wednesdays. You guys send us some questions that we think about and ponder, and then we listen to some other thought leaders and content creators and hear what they have to say about the question of the day. And so we're really excited because today's a great topic.
Yeah, for sure. Let's jump into it, guys.
Do rich men date poor women for control?
Jump in the
Hmm.
comments immediately. I need to hear the answers in the comments immediately, guys.
Yeah, this sounds straight from social media type of question for sure. All right, I'll take a go at it first. I think there's probably something to this. If a woman doesn't have some financial agency and depends on him completely, then there might be some sort of control happening there, where she is limited to what she can do based on how much money he provides for her. So there could be some of that. And then the other part of me is like, maybe it just doesn't matter. Like, I mean, from what I'm understanding, men aren't looking to marry rich women like that. It's not what they're looking for. They're looking for women who are supportive and loving and nurturing, and um, that doesn't necessarily come with money. So perhaps a woman who doesn't have money, um, it like has an abundance of those other things, and
Well
so it's
said.
not necessarily for control. It's just kind of
Well
what
said.
what he needs, right?
Yes.
So
Well said.
I think it can go either way. I'm sure it depends on the couple.
No, well said. I think a lot of this definitely hinges on the word control. Because I would say anyone that's in either sex that's making more than their counterpart has some semblance of control in the relationship. Just because if making decisions on things that we enjoy, entertainment, activities outside of our basic needs are going to then probably depend on the person who's making more money, and that person may have more say or sway in that decision. But I definitely think you hit the nail right on the head. I think if we just stuck to the crux of the question, I think there's a thing that a man is looking for, and a woman who may be financially um, independent isn't able to provide those things because of a demanding schedule, or maybe some of the nurture in her is not able it's not as readily accessible because she's out in a very demanding workspace, having to, what I mean, be a boss queen and such. And so, coming home and being able to turn that off and allow for somebody else to, feel like they're in control, if that's something a man needs or a person needs, I think is very important. And again, I don't think it's across the board. This is something that can be so generalized. I think each of us can learn to be, who we need to be in our partnerships. But for sure, I feel like if you're making the majority of the income, and again, either sex, I think you're going to have some more say in things that happen within the family and the dynamics within that,
Yeah,
financial dynamics within that.
right. I think that's fair. I mean, money just gives you options, right? It's the option to make decisions based on what's good for you, what's good for your family, what's good for the couple and and the relationship.
Yeah.
So again, to your point, if the woman doesn't have the finances to be able to make decisions the way that she wants to, then it could seem like control, right? Like, or it could very well be a controlling relationship. Like it could be, um,
Well,
or
yeah.
it could just be the dynamic of their relationship, which
Yes.
is he does take into consideration like what she wants, what are the things that she needs, and like takes that into consideration when making decisions. So yes, it depends on the
Mo-
couple.
money can come into a relationship, and regardless of whose account or whatever, um however that money is earned from a partnership comes in, and it goes into one account, and each party have the ability to spend freely. You know what I
Right.
mean? That's a dynamic that can have happen in a relationship. Others, people treat a lot of it, I call it the roommate situation, where it's like, oh, let's just split this down the middle. And then therefore, whatever extra income I have based on whatever our financial needs are, I treat as my own, and so on. Things are going to work for people. So as I said, the way the question is set up, it just really depends on how that relationship. Because I like the latter. I like the idea of just money coming in and we can spend, with some understanding, obviously, that we have certain things that are necessities that we have to take care of, and therefore. And then for some people, it's like they're like, oh, but if I'm the one bringing the majority of the money in, and my partner is just spending it freely, what happens if I? And again, at that level, I feel like we should be talking about more we than I. And so, each of these, again, different dynamics are going to be there for different people and different couples, right?
Totally agree. Well, so it's not just us, right? We got some fellas and the lovely lady who is going to be sharing with us their thoughts and ideas around this. We've turned to the guys from Earn Your Leisure. Can't wait to hear from them and what they have to say, and the guests that they have on, who they are interviewing. I think this is going to be a really interesting conversation. Her name is Ebony K. Williams, and she is a boss queen. So let's hear what they've got to say.
Let's do it.
Known for a controversial take or two of my day. When you say that I won't date a bus driver, like, are you doing it to be salacious to drive your other points home? Because I think a lot of the other points that you make that are incredibly valid get looked over because of social media. Are you doing that to have a moment to make the message go further, or are you just speaking freely because you're in a financially free space?
It's the latter. I'm speaking freely because God is good all the time, and I've earned the right to be able to just say it how I mean it. So when I say I'm not dating a bus driver, it's number one, because let's get you out of driving the bus for somebody else, and let's just figure out what it would take for us to buy you a bus, because you can actually buy a bus, and that's not out of scope. If we do this, if you're my partner, it's certainly not out of scope. So now we need to talk about what that, and then that can get dicey. Again, I saw this in my family growing up, because sometimes when the income gap is so significant, and see, this is why I don't recommend trying to close substantial income gaps in the confines of romantic relationships, because things start not making sense. Like somebody the other day was talking to me about, like, well, how would you advise a woman who made $500,000 to go house hunting with her husband who makes $75,000? I wouldn't.
You don't.
I wouldn't.
Another way too. Yep.
And I was just going to say, and the other way too, which is why if you start talking to a lot of these, like you guys, and a lot of wealthy men and men in that 1% and up, because we know it's levels, they're not partnering with those women. And if they are, and some of them are, right? Because I hear that all the time, well, he dates girls that wait tables and do this. There's a why there. Okay. And I'm not judging, because again, that's a man who said, I went to law school, I went and got my MBA, I did these things so I could earn 700,000, 1.2 million, 3 million a year, so I can be in exclusive full control. And she's going to go on vacation where the fuck I tell her we're going on vacation. Pack your bag.
Well, I don't think. Let me interject.
I don't think. Is that you?
Have a moment, Troy. I'm with you. Hold on.
I got no arm in the race. I don't think that's a fair way to characterize the situation, because it's not so much of saying you're going on vacation wherever I tell you to go on vacation. I think a man's role traditionally has always been to provide. Right. And a woman's work. So a man's a protector and a provider, and a woman has always been a nurturer and an educator. Right. Now we live in a society where roles have changed a lot, and women have been able to provide sometimes for men, and men have been able to nurture, but traditionally. Right. So as a provider and as somebody who is a protector, I think that it's actually, beneficial for both parties if somebody was like, okay, like, this is what we're doing.
Most women would love it, but here's back to the conflict that you two specifically named earlier. The man that can provide that for a woman like myself, or many of the women, your former clients, that man, I'm just going to take a shot in the dark and say that man is not chiefly desirous of a woman like us. He is preferring that 28-year-old that you talked about earlier. And that 28-year-old, not because she's a ditz or dumb or lacking in any way. I couldn't have planned those experiences at 28. and I'm smart as a motherfucker. Yeah. You know, I've kind of played a lot in a lot of these spaces. I've been the younger, educated, but not. So my former fiance, this was a very wealthy man, like New York wealthy man. So now you're talking about, 75 million and up, right? And I thought I was doing it big at that time. 350, I think I was making, working for a news network, which was good money. I mean, I was 33, 34 years old, but the power dynamic inside of that relationship, because I lived it, looked a certain way.
Where it's different.
It did. Yeah. So when he would say, we're going to so-and-so, what am I going to say? Like, oh, well, why? Or, and unless I can step up and really say, nah, fuck all that. We doing this. And here's, to your point, here's my 60K on it. And damn, now my little 350 looking small because this is the reality.
This is a real conversation.
Yes. I think it's very easy to have generalized thoughts and opinions and ways in which theoretically these things go. But when you get in it and you're in these trenches and you're living it every day, this is really what it starts to look like.
But all of these things depend on the individual relationship, because it seems like the last example she just gave about the person going, oh, we're going here, and then her counter being, now we're going here. If they were making the same amount of money, it doesn't seem like that was a harmonious way of picking a vacation. It just seemed like it was whoever makes the most money, like I said, gets to make all the decisions. It seems like regardless of whatever relationship she goes into, if she makes the most money, she feels she should be able to dictate where they do things.
What she was saying in her mind is just facts and not necessarily good nor bad. So that to me was like the number one thing, because I was like, oh, is she trying? It just sounded like she was trying to make it seem like it was bad. And I don't necessarily think that she is incorrect, right? So to your point, whether it's the man or the woman with the money, like they're the ones who will make the decisions, especially decisions that require a certain amount of money in order to happen, right? I mean, if I don't got it, I don't got it. So like, you have it. So if you think yes, then we'll do it, because I can't afford it, right? So I think that's kind of it at the end of the day. This was such a great topic. Thank you for sending this question. This was amazing. We are going to be back on Wednesday. You guys are going to see us. We can't wait to be with you on Wednesday. But until then, as always, remember, you deserve the good life. Say that.
We'll see you guys.